Jersey's own Zach Gelb. Or maybe it's Pennsylvania. Anyhow, it's one of the two, I'm pretty sure. The Zach Gelb Show continues on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
All right, welcome back into the Zach Gelb Show right here on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Number, as always, 609-919-9200 if you want to hang with us, or you can tweet the show on my Twitter, @Zach Gelb. All-Star game tonight. What a home run derby we had last night with Aaron Judge hitting prodigious home run after prodigious home run. Let's go out to the hotline and let's go to a man that knows a thing or two about making the All-Star game and also hitting some home runs, and that is Greg Luzinski, who's kind enough to join us right now, the Bull. And you remember him in Philadelphia as the 1980 World Series champion, a part of that team, and the Bull is kind enough to join us right now. Greg, appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much, and how are you?
Doing pretty good right now. Getting ready, obviously, tonight to watch the All-Star game.
Were you a little bit tired? I heard you had a rough start to your morning this morning with a 3:44 a.m. fire alarm going off in the hotel you're at.
Yeah, we stay in, obviously, a hotel here outside of Philadelphia in the New Jersey suburbs, and about 3:44 the fire alarm did go off, and I guess they had some water problems on the third floor. So that was corrected, and obviously everything's turned out all right. So hopefully tonight we'll get a good night's sleep.
Do you complain to hotel management when that happens to try to get a free hotel?
No. No, they've been pretty good to me. So obviously, and my family. So no problem as far as I'm concerned.
One more on the hotel as Greg Luzinski joins us. When you were a player and when you were on a road trip, how many times did the alarm go off? Do you ever remember a big night right before a big game, the alarm going off in the hotel?
The funny thing about it is I don't remember at all. I don't think we ever had a problem. Maybe one or two times that I can't remember, but I don't think it was in the middle of the night or something like that. It was usually right after a game where they cleared you out because the alarm went off. But it's surprising. As many weekends as we spent at some of these hotels and with a lot of the weddings and people partaking, it's surprised they haven't gone off more.
So you made 4 All-Star games. 1977, you hit the home run in the All-Star game at Yankee Stadium. Look back at your time for me of playing in the All-Star games and some of the memories that come to mind.
Well, obviously that's the biggest memory I had. And Yankee Stadium, as everybody knows, is hallowed grounds, to be honest with you. And I played in the old Yankee Stadium, so when coming in from the subway and you walk by the monuments, there's a little chill that goes down your spine, and to be able to step in the Yankee Stadium batter's box, put your feet in there and get ready to hit, and be able to hit a home run your first at bat in Yankee Stadium is very, very memorable to me, and especially because it was an all-star appearance.
Now, everything's done on social media with the All-Star game now. Everyone campaigns on social media. We know when you were playing, social media wasn't around. So when you made your first All-Star game, how were you told that you were heading to the All-Star game?
Most of the time, the managers called you. Sparky Anderson was managing, and he gave me a call. He gave me a call, I think it was the year before that, too, when I didn't make the team, and he told me that he needed pitching. And I was kind of really upset because I was leading. I think I was leading the league at home runs at the time, halfway point. So it was kind of disappointing. But obviously, in Milwaukee, he called me back, and he caught the next year, and I was on that ball club. But 4 All-Star appearances for me are very, very. It's a memorable thing. I mean, it's been a long time, but that Yankee Stadium game against, especially hitting that home run against, Hall of Famer and Jim Palmer was something I'll never forget.
Your first All-Star game, you were 24, and you're still a young guy at that time, and you clearly had some success in the league, mentioning what happened the year before that. When you walked into the clubhouse, was that surreal, just being amongst all these great other players?
Well, there's no question about it. I was fortunate enough, just like some of these guys in the big leagues now that'll be at the All-Star game that are young of age, and to walk in there and actually see some of the guys that you went to see play, for instance, that were All-Stars, and now all of a sudden you're in the same room with them is obviously mind-blowing to me. I mean, it was a great, great experience, and something you'll never forget.
The Bull with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920, The Jersey, talking to Greg Luzinski. Let's take a look back at your career in Philadelphia away from the All-Star game. The 1980, everyone's going to talk about that team forever and forever because you guys won a championship, and you know how much Philadelphia appreciates winners. So reminisce to me about that 1980 team and some memories that come back to mind after all these years.
Well, we weren't successful in the playoffs. Was 3 years before that. Cincinnati cleaned their clock, and we lost to the Dodgers. We also had the Black Friday night where the ball went off the wall, and played in the rain the next day. And it's just a lot of things that led up. And so then, obviously, in 1980, when we finally got there and defeated Houston, a team that we didn't really score a lot of runs when we went to the Dome, and then to beat Nolan Ryan the last day after they were ahead and come back on them, it was just a tremendous series, and obviously the pressure was off. It was an unbelievable feeling after finally winning the National League. How much pressure came off just going to the World Series, and I think that really helped our ball club because everybody was very loose, and we had the best third baseman of all time playing for us, Mike Schmidt, who got extremely hot during the World Series and playoffs, and he was MVP that year, 1980, of both the league and the World Series, and did a tremendous job. But the one thing I remember about 80 is that we did get a lot of help. It's not like we ran away with the league. We went down to like the last series in Montreal before we could claim the East. So it was a battle. But we had some youngsters come up. Dallas Green brought some youngsters up. Lonnie Smith, Bystrom was 5-0 in the month of September. So it was a team effort. Trust me, totally. And like I said, we went down to extra innings in Montreal in the last 3-game series of the year to clinch it and go on to the playoffs.
We're talking to Greg Luzinski. Since you mentioned your late great manager in Dallas Green, we had Pete Rose on the show a few weeks ago, and he said that you guys wouldn't have won in 1980 if Dallas wasn't the manager. Just what was it like to play for Dallas?
Well, Dallas was my first manager in organized baseball way back in 1968 when I signed. So I had a pretty good idea what he was about. But Dallas was a guy that just wanted everybody to play hard and have a goal, to be successful and reach the World Series. I mean, like I said, we had 3 shots previously, and we didn't get there, and he stayed on us pretty good. I mean, there's no question about that, and that we reacted to what he was doing. So you can't say he didn't do a good job, and obviously our coaching staff also did a fine job to help direct what he was trying to put out there. So like I said, 68, I had him as a manager and was able to play for him there, and I can still remember the meeting at the end of the year when he talked to me, and I was 17 years old when he said, "Hey, you got a hell of a future in front of you, and you're going to be in the big leagues." And sure enough, I made it to the big leagues and ended up playing for him again for a couple of years in 79 and 80.
All right, let's get to some of the All-Star Game festivities now in the year 2017. We all saw the Home Run Derby last night, and the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby lost some of its luster the last few years, but what we saw last night was unbelievable and had my attention captivated. How about Aaron Judge last night? I've never seen anything like that.
Pretty good performance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tremendous performance. He hit how many balls over 400 and some feet, close to 500 feet or better. And that's not a good hitter's ballpark as far as the home runs go. I mean, the gaps are fine, but he put on some kind of show, and that's what the Home Run Derby is really about, is, for hitters like him to be able to go out there and show how far he can hit the ball. And that's why he did exactly what we expected him to do, and he probably did more.
It's such an anomaly, though, to me when I look at him play, because he's 6'7", and last year he was hitting $179, and now he's hitting .329 with 30 homers and 60 RBIs. So when I look at him, I look at a guy that's that tall, and I think to myself, he's probably not going to have that much success. That's why it's been so much fun to watch him play this year.
Well, he must be a pretty good athlete, obviously, and he is. I mean, he had numerous teams that were interested in him to play football. So obviously, like I said, he's got a lot of ability. But I think the experience of the short experience of even coming up last year, really helped him and basically showed him what the big leagues is all about. And I think he was the type of guy that said, hey, maybe I wasn't successful for that month, but I found out one thing, if I improve here, take some pitches, command the strike zone a little bit, that I can be successful there and I can play in the big leagues. And obviously he has done that the first half of the season and put up some tremendous numbers.
Talking to Greg Luzinski right now on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Let's get to the Phillies. The first half has just been terrible. We all know that. The base running has been pathetic, terrible fundamentals. The pitching's tough to watch. Just as a former player, when you watch the Phillies and you still love this team, what has this first half been like for you to watch?
Well, obviously I'm out there at Bulls Barbecue in Citizens Bank Park, so I get to see a lot of games. And, a good friend of mine, Pete McCannon's the manager, as well as some of the coaches that I played with. But, sometimes it comes down to talent. And if there's not enough talent on that ball club, you just can't put enough together to win games. And I think we've kind of saturated that point right now where they're trying to find out about certain players, and I think they're doing that. I think the future of the Phillies is still in the minor leagues, down at different levels, to where when those guys get ready, hopefully they bring them up. I know most of the Phillies' success in the past was, obviously in the 70s when a group of us came up together, and then you look at the success they had in 08, 09, and before that, and you see Jimmy Rollins in there, and obviously different players throughout there, the outlays, Chooch behind the plate. So there was a group of guys there, but, and the big guy was Ryan Howard at that time, who drove in and hit a lot of home runs, kind of like Judge is going to do this year. So, there was that nucleus there, and then the little pieces were put in place for those guys to be contenders and then finally world champions.
How frustrating is it for you right now to watch Odubel Herrera?
Very.
Why doesn't he get it? Like, why doesn't he get it? Like, how many times is it going to take him to realize that he's just got to improve the base running and listening to the direction that he's getting?
Well, obviously, you're going to have to keep pounding it into him. I have a little radio program I do on Mondays, and Juan Samuel was a guest of ours, and Sammy's kind of trying to take him under his wing, and obviously, being a Latin player, he's taken him under his wing, and he's been working with him, and he's gotten better. There's no question about it. But he still makes those young mistakes, and if he could ever eliminate those, he's going to be a good ball player to fit to our ball club. But when not only him, when other players continue to make those mistakes, it really starts to show that you're young and immature as a ball club, and you're not going to go anywhere.
And two more for Greg Luzinski before we let him run. Let's get to Maikel Franco. What advice would you give to the Phillies' third baseman?
Well, you know what? When it's all said and done, he's probably going to have 25 home runs and drive in 80 to 90 runs. So, let's sit back. He got off to a bad start. He's got some pop in that bat, obviously. Maikel's a great guy. They're all good guys. And they got to feed off each other. So we're hoping that, either Herrera or you get a guy like Maikel Franco, and they get them hot and they can feed off each other just like teams feed off, say, for instance, the Yankees feed off Judge when he's going. But, he makes everybody look good. And hopefully we can do that here in Philadelphia.
And finally, let's close with this, because I've been asking this to a lot of people that come on, and especially people that played with them and also played in the same era as him. We know Pete Rose is going into the Wall of Fame in August up against the Mets in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. With Pete Rose, do you think he should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm not going to change my answer, what I normally tell everybody, and what my answer always is, when you look at the statistics of Pete Rose, obviously he belongs to the Hall of Fame statistically. But, there are rules, there are regulations. The man broke the rules. He had a chance to come back into baseball quite a few times with different commissioners, and things had happened where I guess they didn't agree, or he went the other way on a few things. And so, he's not there. I know the people, most fans, would accepted the fact that he made the mistake. If he would have come out, I think, right away and just said, "Hey, I made the mistake. I'm very sorry for it. Whatever I have to do," I think the fans would have definitely forgiven him. I mean, when you look at the date coming up in August here on the weekend, when the Mets are in there and it's Wall of Fame and it's a sold-out crowd, it just goes to show you that people forgive and forget.
Yeah, here's my take on it. I don't condone what he did, but if you just look at the numbers, like you were saying, for me, it's tough not to put him in, because for the Hall of Fame, to me, is to honor the great players in baseball. And how do you not put the hit king in the Hall of Fame? That's just why it's tough for me to understand why he wouldn't be in.
Well, it is tough. Like I said, there are rules and regulations. The regulation and the rule he broke was inside the first thing you see when you walk into a clubhouse, and in every language. And it's not that I'm against Pete Rose, but it's just the idea of when you start breaking rules, how far you're going to go.
Do you guys ever talk to him about that?
Not me. I've been with him quite a few times, and I basically try to stay away from it, to be honest with you. He was a great player for us, and I just remember him as playing for us, and also I played against him. He was one of the great players in the game of baseball, and hopefully somewhere in the near future things will be worked out so he can enter into the Hall of Fame.
Well, Greg, this is great stuff. We appreciate the time, and hopefully the hotel you're in tonight, that alarm doesn't go off again, all right?
Yeah, I probably won't hear it tonight.
Thanks so much, Bo. We appreciate it.
Thank you.